Today on Voices for Change.
And we're off!
Franklin gets his flowers. Peanuts' first black character tells his origin story.
Here I was, a black person representing something for black people. And on some level, Franklin feels that.
Plus, Black Cowboys represent the organization preserving the legacy of their ancestors.
It felt like I had stepped through a portal. And it was something that I felt like I had to share with the world.
And capturing the history and strength of black women through film.
The true essence of a black woman at their best. Black identity, black pride.
Welcome to Voices for Change. I'm Greg Lee. This is the first episode of our 5th season, and we are grateful for the opportunity to continue shining a light on those working for a more diverse and inclusive tomorrow. We started this program with the goal of handing a megaphone to the marginalized, and that is our continued North Star during this new season. We are celebrating Black History Month in this episode. We begin with a new special dedicated to the origin story of the first black character in the Peanuts comic strip. Franklin was first introduced by Charles Sparky Schulz in 1968. It came amid the Civil Rights Movement and after the assassination of Martin Luther King Jr. Franklin becoming an iconic part of the Peanuts world. Apple TV's new special, Snoopy Presents Welcome Home Franklin, tells the story of Franklin Armstrong moving into Charlie Brown's neighborhood. I spoke to the co-writer of this special, a dear friend of Schultz's, and the man who Schultz named Franklin Armstrong after, Rob Armstrong.
Moved by Franklin and Charlie Brown.
You were just 6 years old when Franklin made his Peanuts debut. You've had incredible success in your career with Jumpstart. But what does Welcome Home Franklin mean to you?
Welcome Home Franklin is very different than my career as a cartoonist doing Jumpstart. It's different than my career as a cartoonist, actually. It's my first screenplay. It's continuing the legacy of Charles Schulz. This man was my friend. I miss Sparky to this day. It's been 24 years. I just can't get over it. I loved him being a part of my progress. I loved that he would read my strip and comment on it and call me and say, "What are you working on?" So when he named Franklin Armstrong, it was 1994, 4 years into our friendship. I was just beyond honored. There really is no words for it. I wish I could have the words for it, but it's next level stuff, and I didn't know what to do with it for a long time. I didn't know who to tell. I didn't tell anyone. But now I know that we've done the right thing with it. It's quite a relief.
Yeah, and Rob, there's a really remarkable story about how Franklin came to be, and all because of Harriet Glickman. Can you talk about kind of those conversations that you had with Charles Schulz about Franklin himself?
He was understandably reluctant to add Franklin to the cast originally. Harriet Glickman, who also was a friend, was very persistent. She even enlisted the help of other people. She knew black people because she's Jewish. She was a Jewish woman. And understandably, Sparky was worried that he might come off condescending to black people. He also was worried that unlike his other creations, Snoopy, Charlie Brown, the whole cast, he had a lived experience to work from as source material. And he knew he didn't have that lived experience to work from for Franklin. And worried that the character might remain undeveloped. It's another reason I'm so thrilled to be involved in this, by the way, that I'm carrying that thing he was worried about, so worried about forward. But he knew it would come at a significant cost. And when he added the character, justifiably, again, concerned that, people might misunderstand the character or his intentions. The first one to misunderstand it was his editor at the syndicate that distributes Peanuts to thousands of newspapers. And his editor said, "We're not running the ones with the black kid," and Sparky immediately said, "Really? Well, I quit." Like that, a reflex that it just stands apart from all this other stuff. This other stuff is great. People love it. It's meaningful. It's Black History Month and blah, blah, blah. This man said, "I will forfeit my whole career in defense of Franklin. And to me, it's the most important part of this story.
One thing was for sure, there was a lack of variety in this place.
The gentleness of this piece speaks to the smartness of our group. We didn't want to have him use his racial differences or their established whiteness. He didn't want to use his blackness as a cudgel against them, which is why he speaks in a kind of a subtext about it. I noticed coming in here, not a lot of variety as he drives past an ice cream store with nothing but vanilla ice cream. He doesn't say anything about those kids. He says there's not a lot of variety in that ice cream store. You know, it's just a way to address something that can be touchy and accusatory.
You can never go wrong if you start with a good joke. And remember, don't forget to dial up the personality.
There was a line that stuck out with me in the very beginning of the special where Franklin says, "My grandpa told me that you don't fight change because change is undefeated."
Franklin takes his grandfather's words to heart. And as in doing so, I agree. I think that every time his grandfather says something, he wants to live it. He doesn't want to just write it down in his little book. He wants to live it out. He takes them very seriously. He wants to calculate his life. He wants to calculate this friendship endeavor. And it's a shame, actually, because no other person, no other character in that group has had to craft out the making of friends. But he's got it kind of written down. It's a blueprint, and he's going by it. It's very calculated, and it speaks to the Black experience.
As much as Franklin is to so many generations of Black kids, right, who see themselves in this strip, and you saw yourself in Franklin,
yeah.
You are that for the next generation of Black artists and Black writers, and you are fostering that with Peanuts through the Armstrong Project. How important is that to you?
I think we all would do well to reach back and help someone. There's a lot of ladder pulling in our society too. Like, I've climbed up and I'm going to take the whole ladder with me, and it's not what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to help someone. I know we are literally in the business of not just making dreams come true, but saving lives. And we can't know the length and breadth of what we're doing. We just have to do it. We have to have a willing heart to do it.
Words, a lot of times, really can't capture what he did with the lens and the light.
A son's tribute, how one man is preserving the legacy of his trailblazing father. Plus,
taking that, part of me and giving it back to the community is very important.
Horses in the Hood, the local organization bringing horses and agriculture to communities that may not have access to them. From a young age, Aisha McElroy was always drawn to horses. As she grew older, she learned she came from generations of Black cowboys and ranchers. She's now made it her mission to share experiences with horses and agriculture with inner city communities. She founded the Black Cowboy Coalition.
You have deep roots with Black cowboys and ranchers. What drove you to start the Black Cowboy Coalition?
Well, it's so many reasons. Really, when I was at a very young age, around 4, I talked to my mom, and for some reason, I just thought that I should have a pony and I should live on a farm somewhere. So fast forward to when I'm around 7, 8 years old, I am involved in this all-Black karate school that's based out of East Oakland. And the instructors, Sifu Bill Owens and Sifu Mary Owens, they happened to take a group of inner city kids to a horsemanship lesson in the Skyline Hills. And that horsemanship lesson was taught by the Oakland Black Cowboys. So at that young age, I was immersed in the cowboy community and the horsemanship instruction. So fast forward to when I'm around 30 or so years old, I have a conversation with my grandfather, and he's telling me that his father was an actual farmer based out of Beaumont, Texas, and his grandfather was a rancher based out of Clarksville, Louisiana. And during that time, they had the Cadillacs of horse and buggies. So these are stories that I had never heard of from my family. And it was okay, it all made sense why I thought I should be on a farm because this was in our bloodline, this was in our ancestry. Fast forward to me creating the Black Cowboy Coalition, a big part of that was getting the information from all these Black-owned barns, these Black-owned ranches, and similar organizations, and compiling them and creating a directory that showcased this Black cowboy industry. So from having those experiences, compiling all this data, and saying, you know what, I have to share this with the world, grew the Black Cowboy Coalition. And after that, we started developing programs. We started to do a lot of community engagement and really grow ourselves within the cowboy community.
For you, what does it mean when you expose communities that may not have access to the ag industry or horses? You expose them to it for the first time.
The first time I ever saw a horse was during the Black Cowboy Parade. So knowing that and taking that, part of me and giving it back to the community is very important. Having horses in the community, exposing individuals to different agricultural programs that they have never even heard of. People don't know that there's still people that put shoes on horses and they get paid very well. So we like to expose individuals to these types of trades because a lot of what our upbringing was very narrow. Doctors, IT, nurses, lawyers. There are so many different industries and opportunities within agriculture that are fun and you can really grow and develop. So it is the goal of our organization to truly expose youth and adults, because sometimes we forget about the adults and we only focus on the youth, but youth and adults to the agricultural industry in many ways.
Aisha, during this Black History Month, you truly are preserving the legacy of your ancestors. What would be your encouragement to others to do the same? And what do you think your ancestors are saying right now about you?
I think they're pretty happy. I would hope so. But what I think is important is to absolutely preserve the legacy and the history of the ancestors that have passed, but also focus on the current history of the ancestors that are living. Your grandfather, your uncles, your dad, your cousins. Ask them the stories of their past. Where did they come from? What was their upbringing? We're so, I think, programmed, due to our educational system to focus on certain leaders within Black history, Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, Rosa Parks. But there are living legends right now that are so willing to tell their stories. You talk to an elder and they will talk to you for hours about, what they've done in the past and what they're doing in the present. So I think that we should focus more so on the living legends that are here today and help to broadcast their history and help to build on their legacy.
Love, joy, empowerment. It meant strength. It meant, you have hope.
All the emotions evoked by a new photo gallery celebrating Black women. We'll speak with the curator next. Welcome back. Kenneth P. Green Sr. was a trailblazer. In the 1960s, he became the first Black photojournalist for the Oakland Tribune until his death in 1982. His son, Kenneth Green Jr., has focused on honoring his father's work, including with a new exhibit at the San Francisco Public Library featuring his dad's photos called Toward a Black Aesthetic.
You've done exhibitions and projects with your dad's work before, but there's something really special about these never before seen images. What does this mean to you?
What it means to me is I'm finally able to share with the Bay Area and the general public just how important it is to show the images of the 1960s and 70s here in Oakland, San Francisco. The Bay Area has a very rich history. It's fragile, but yet complex, and we all love being here. It was just really profound that my dad, being a social photographer, would want to leave a record such like this that we're very proud to share.
Let's talk about that record. What is a part of Toward a Black Aesthetic? So many of these photos are of women, of Black women in that time in the Bay Area. What do
Yeah.
you think he was trying to capture and wanted the viewer to see?
The true essence, the true essence of a Black woman at their best, Black identity, Black pride, education, love, joy, empowerment. It meant strength. It meant, you have hope. These are the women that raised me as a child. I'm a '69 baby, so it's very much a part of our fabric, our tradition, our culture being here in the Bay Area.
Kenneth, it is Black History Month. And so, how important is paying homage to that history? And your dad is also a big part of that history because he not only captured it, he was the first Black photojournalist at the Oakland Tribune. So, all of that encapsulated, how significant is that?
Mind blowing. Words a lot of times really can't capture what he did with the lens and the light and just his craft of being able to leave us a panoramic vision from the 1960s through the 70s until the day that he passed away with the camera around his neck. I think it's a defining moment to really see what really takes place here in the Bay Area that most people don't even know about.
As you continue to honor his legacy and honor his life's work, what do you think he would say or think about what you've created behind you to share with the Bay Area and beyond?
I can only say something that he's telling me to do it right now, and he say, "Right on with the right on." My dad was a very humble, charismatic person from Lake Charles, Louisiana, and they settled here in the Bay Area, Bayview, Hunters Point, back in, I think, the '48 when my grandmother came from Louisiana. And they settled here in the Bay Area, and my dad just, I guess when he came home from the military, he knew and understood that he wanted to be a photographer, and he was relentless at documenting the Black community and the surrounding Bay Area. You leave here with a rich, full understanding that there's more to the Black aesthetic, Black women, and than you had before. White America didn't necessarily capture and document the '60s and '70s Black women in particularly, or it wasn't necessarily on their radar. So I'm just glad that my dad actually decided to leave us a record here, and that we actually get to see and experience what that actually is.
Keep a smile on your face and look forward, because there'll be opportunities. Take advantage of them, and there'll be more than one.
UC Berkeley's trailblazing Bugman. When we come back, his message for the next generation about persistence and believing in yourself. Bernard Lewis holds the distinction of being UC Berkeley's first Black entomologist. He's traveled the world studying insects and sharing his knowledge with young people, always sharing the value of a career in science, no matter what barriers might stand in their way. You are Cal's first Black entomologist in history, and I'm sure at the time that maybe didn't register for you, but what does that mean to you?
The first one that got paid. Technically, and I wrote a paper on that. I was curious to see if there were other Black Americans who went through entomology, and I think I published that. Oh, when was that paper? Maybe 10 years ago. There were other people before me, but I was the first one to be hired with a job.
Bernard, you've had quite the career. You worked at San Quentin. You built Villa Termiti, which is quite the establishment. For you, what stands out most for you in your career?
Oh, my interactions with people. I mean, I don't care about the papers or the money or the prestige. I've met some incredibly talented people around the world. I know today we have another global crisis. We always seem to have global crises, by the way, but I'm blessed to have. I recently published with a man who was raised in Israel, and I've helped a Palestinian get a degree once. So I give back globally. My nationality is Homo sapiens. My place of origin is Earth. That's how I work it.
Yeah, it's such an important message. Bernard, you do a lot of work with kids and the next generation. How
Yes.
important is it for you to give back to those kids, to get them interested in science, in STEM?
I think for me, people ask, well, why do I do it? Well, I started collecting insects at 4 or 5, and it was my grandfather who enlightened me and allowed me to do it. My grandmother thought I was a bit extreme, but when I give back to kids, I'm just giving back what was given to me, or who knows, 65 years ago.
Well, and on that note, Bernard, it's not as if everything was handed to you. I want you
No.
to share, if you can, your little story about a high school counselor who didn't believe in you.
Well, I was blessed to, I went to a good high school. I went to De La Salle in Minneapolis. There's a chain of De La Salles, and I actually got an academic scholarship. So I was always smart. I didn't realize I had to grow into my potential. So I took the SATs, and I had no one in my family who had ever gone to college. So I didn't know how to prepare. I probably wasn't prepared, didn't do well, but still checked on and with the counselor. And he's probably doing his job. He just said I wasn't good enough to go to college. And well, this was 1967. So, I didn't take that too well. I asked him what was the best university in the land. He said, Berkeley. I don't think I could have found it on the map. I said, I'll go there. And so on the last day of August, 1969, with a suitcase, a box of books, $300 in my wallet, and a one-way ticket to San Francisco, here I am.
Bernard, with that story in mind, what is your message to young students that may feel discouraged or may not feel like the path is clear?
Okay. I can't change the past. What I tell youth, and I deal with them a lot, keep a smile on your face and look forward, because there'll be opportunities. Take advantage of them. And there'll be more than one. And if you fail, get up and try again.
If you would like to see past and future episodes of Voices for Change, or you want to watch any of these segments again, head to our website, KTVU.com, and search Voices for Change. That's our show for this month. You can catch us on the last Sunday of every month or anytime on the Fox Local app. We appreciate you joining us, and a special thanks as always to our team for making this happen. We'll see you next time.